So we're going to start at the top with a little bit of tan and a little bit of white. So I'm going to wash off my brush. I am going to dry it really good, okay? I don't want water on my brush for this either, okay? So I'm going to pull out some tan. This is chunky paint, guys. Make sure you have a nice edge on your flat brush also. I'm going to get a little bit of white, okay? What we're going to do with this, we're going to make longer strokes. We're going to lift off. See how chunky this is? I'm looking at this camera, okay? See how chunky this is? I'm going to lift off. These little hairs up here are done with the script liner brush, so don't worry too much about that. As I come down, I'm going to start adding in some other colors so I can have some shadows here and I can have some highlights. I even pull in a little bit of yellow and raw sienna. I pull in some dark brown. But I'm going to show you my pressure is going to be pressed using the skinny part of the brush. Sometimes I wiggle and I lift off, okay? So this is a little bit messy. Some areas you can see I let some of the canvas show through also. So as many times as like if you did this painting again, this would all look different, okay? Because this is very loose painting, all right? So Lindsay, I'm going to try to crook my hand. But I'm just going to kind of like scrub back and forth, lift off. First coat of this is going to be a little bit transparent. Lindsay, I might have to pull it this way just to get in here. Is that all right?
Yep.
And sorry to you at home that I have to, right here, I'm going to pull this and I'm smushing and pulling off, okay? I'll bring it back there. It's going to look a little weird first. So I'm grabbing again. I'm grabbing my, see how it's chunky? I'm grabbing my white and my beige, okay? White and beige. Whenever we get close to his eye, I want you to take your time. I want you to leave a little bit. Probably I got too close, but we can put it back in. I want you to leave a little bit of black like around his eye. So take your time, like around the eye right there, okay? I'm also going to bring it around here. You can use a round brush here instead if you like. Follow around the shape of the eye, lift off as you come close to the beak, okay? We just want to get that black mark around there, that's it. So I'm going to go really slow. You can use a pointy brush if you want, but I want to get that black right around there, okay? Tiny bit. So you want to leave that black line there, okay? It'll all come together later. So we want this chunky. We're going to start building this up, okay? While this is wet, I like to work wet on wet. I'm going to get my script liner brush. I'm going to turn this for a second. I want to put a couple of these hairs here before it dries. I'm going to go with a little bit of the tan and a little bit of white script liner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off. You got to make sure this is watered. Oh, I just wanted that a little uneven. Because if this dries, still need a little bit of water on that. We want that to pull off. We want like a flicking motion. We'll add some black behind that later, but it's important to get some of these like little bumps on the top of his head. You don't want this like all smooth. You want to make it look like some of these hairs are coming off. So it's a light touch flicking with a little bit of water with the script liner, okay? I'm going to pull this out. Little bit. Okay, tiny bit like that, just so you have some of those hairs before it dries, okay? So I always stop and do that. Oh, it's this phone, Lindsay. Make sure it's off that camera because the studio phone is.
Yeah, it's off.
Someone's really ringing it. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this. So I'm starting with tan and white, and then I'm going to start adding a little bit of white to this. And see how it starts getting chunky? And these Lucas paints are like medium body paints. I love them. Don't you love this, Lindsay?
I do.
I love to paint loose like this. We're going to start putting in a little bit of those shadows in there too. Start pulling in some other colors. And pull this in through here. I want to get this nice and chunky first. And how you do that is you can actually apply some pressure here. Smush and pull off. Smush and pull off, okay? I love doing this. I actually put the eagle in so fast when I made this. And you want to follow your strokes down around here. Because I used to paint like crazily. I still do here and there, but where I would make everything so perfect. Every single spot on a dog, every single, oh my goodness, like hair on his head, Hemlin's. I can show you paintings and drawings where I used to do every single thing, but now I'm finding like so much joy in painting loosely, you know? Okay, so I want to add a little bit of darkness, like up in this area right here, okay? So I'm going to pull out some Van Dyke Brown with my flat brush. I do a lot of this with a flat, but I'm going to come back with a round brush to do a little bit more detail, but I want to get some of these shadows in right now because I like dimension, okay? I don't want that going in there. But I want to get a little bit of this in right now, okay? We'll add the really dark stuff here shortly, but I want to start adding some browns in here, okay? Just a little bit as I'm pulling this down because I don't want it just those two tones, okay? So as I go down, I'm going to get the beige and white as a base. So you're going to start with that, okay? Beige and white. Follow the shape of his head. So my strokes are going this angle of the head, okay? I'm going to grab from here and there, I'm going to grab some different colors. So I'm going to grab a little of the dark brown. I may put the corner of my brush in the raw sienna, and I'm going to build from there. I will be coming back with white and darker colors. Is that the studio phone still? So I'm going to leave a little bit of a shadow showing here. Thanks, JC. We forgot to
find us no matter where we are.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going crazy. So as I come down, we're going to add a lot to this, but as I want to show you, as you come down, I'm going to get just the white and the tan in first. Right here, okay? JC, can you turn the vibrating off on that, please? Thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting off, and I want this to be like jagged down through here, okay? I want it to be a little jagged. We'll get that underneath his like neck area right there, but I'm gonna bring this down. We'll be adding, I'm gonna grab a little bit of the dark brown, okay? We'll be adding that in there. Thanks, Jace. So we'll get some low lights in there too. We're gonna add a lot to this, but what I want you to do is get this chunkiness in first with the base, okay? Lindsay, I bet you are wanting to paint it now with all the chunkiness too. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back and add a lot of color to this, but I'm going to wipe off my brush first, and I want to start getting in. I'm going to work my way under this chin. I'm going to start with the dark brown with the black. I'm going to start my lines going this way. Every single line that I'm making, I need a little bit more black in that, okay? I want that dark brown even darker. I'm going to put some black with that Van Dyke Brown right here. And then we're going to start lifting off and coming into this lighter area, all right? Coming in just like this. We're going to play with this a little bit. So I'm going to get a little dark brown and black again, because sometimes you have to go back and forth to get the look that you want, okay? And I want to make sure that this comes down just a little bit into this area, because you want to have lights and darks, but this area you have a lot of darks in here because it's shadowed underneath here and his coloring's darker underneath here, but you still want to start getting some of this darkness through the rest of them. You don't want a dead stop right there, okay? So this is a process. I'm going to wiggle a little bit here and there. I'll come back with some lighter colors too in a little bit, but I want to get some of these. When you have the lights and darks, especially when we're working with feathers and fur and things like that, it definitely adds dimension. It doesn't look like surface, you know, it definitely does. So I'm going to put some darker brown here. I'm going to start pulling in some of this like brown in through here. And then I'm just going to put a little of this marking before I do when I use my round brush here soon. Okay. We'll put in detailed markings up there, but I just have to get some darks in right there because it drives me crazy not having them yet. Sometimes your eye just needs to see certain things, so start pulling it together before you get to the end. I want to get a little bit more black right here. You have to think like where your shadows would be when you're working on a project like this or any one of them. But if you lost some of your black in here, you can always pull some of that back in also. Okay. But again, you want this to be chunky, guys, chunky, chunky. So I'll be coming back and adding some of this, you know, brightness back in too. But I want to get some underlying darkness in there. I want to get a little yellow, but I think I'm going to mix the yellow with the raw sienna because I don't want like a bright yellow, but I do want a little bit of yellow. So we're going to put a tiny bit in.